killed that guy. All right? Nitrogen, supercooled materials. Properties of liquid nitrogen, it's really cold. 320 degrees below zero at atmospheric pressure. It can cause severe frostbite. It kills any cell it touches instantly. They actually use it in surgical procedures to kill cells. That's how effective it is. Now, it expands from liquid to vapor by a factor of 700 to 1. So 1 liter of liquid, 2 little water bottles of liquid becomes 24.6 cubic feet of gas. I mean, it really expands. Now, we like that because it goes a long way, right? But it can also explode. All right, it can cause the explosion of a sealed container. If you increase the pressure or decrease the pressure the wrong way, ba-boom, off it can go. It can displace oxygen in a room, causing suffocation without warning. However, it looks great on film. Now, we can tell which, is this thing on? Is this thing, sure it is. Look at all that. You want to touch any of that? Oh, no, you do not. That's going to be about 200 degrees below zero right there. Which line is cold and which line is not? We can instantly tell. Now, I want to remind you, this slide, I always use this to remind you to write down one other thing here. I want you to write down never to use plastic pipe or plastic fittings in high-pressure systems. They won't take shock like this. This is heavy gauge copper, and this has been brazed 840 degrees Fahrenheit or higher. This is a high-pressure system. For any type of high pressure, we never, ever, ever use any plastic. Nothing more than a couple hundred, PSI for a little air mortar or something like that. All right, treat liquid nitrogen and any supercooled object with great respect. Take care not to allow it to be trapped in your clothing because it'll freeze it and the clothing can actually latch onto your body. Wear safety glasses or a face shield with goggles. Gloves should be loose fitting so you can shake them off like I just showed you. Use only approved unsealed containers. Never pour them into a thermos. We had an employee that did that. It was actually a driver. Poured it into a thermos, put the cap on the thermos, pressurized it, blew up in his hand, killed him, and injured 3 other people up to 15 feet away by flying shrapnel, glass, and steel. All right? Nasty. Don't do that. Never dip a hollow tube into the liquid because it's a different pressure at the top than it is at the bottom. That little amount will trigger this, and it'll shoot that up out of there. And where's it going to go? It's going to come down on you. All right? Anything it touches is dead. All right? Never use in poorly ventilated room or area because it replaces oxygen. If a person does seem to become dizzy or loses consciousness while working with the liquid, move them to a well-ventilated area immediately. If their breathing is stopped, do CPR, call 911, and summon medical aid. Frostbite, summon medical aid immediately. Let them restore the tissue to normal body temperature. I'm an ex-EMT. If this is done wrong, it can literally remove the body, all the skin and muscle right off the bone. All right? It can turn it into literally arm soup. You don't want to do that. It's got to be done right. All right? Carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide, that's basically what we use in place of dry ice for some of our quote-unquote dry ice type foggers because carbon dioxide frozen is dry ice. All right? Manifold system, large storage tanks. Make sure that all lines and valves are connected properly. No leaks are present in the system. Use only proper manifold hose. Now, manifold high-pressure hose is going to be hose that is backed up with steel. It's going to be designed for it like this stuff right here. That is high-pressure hose. All right? Designed specifically for that. Make sure all cylinders are secured properly. Look at this setup, guys. We're talking 8-inch by 8-inch pipe. It's sunken 6 feet into concrete with rebar. All right? It's got 1.5 inch bolts and stuff coming off of it. Everything is set up with your high pressure hose like I just showed you. And then we've got 6-inch steel straps to hold these in place. This is a pretty serious setup for down underneath. I believe this is a volcano setup. And yeah, that's acetylene. How much explosion is that going to cause? That's literally, that could probably raise the better part of a block. All right? I've never seen liquid oxygen on a movie set. That's literally rocket fuel, or part of rocket fuel. Liquid oxygen and kerosene forms the rocket fuel. But we do have the big tanks of propane. We do have carbon dioxide, and I've actually seen a truck of it, big old tank of carbon dioxide. All right, we got to make sure that all transfers are made using the proper hoses, valves, and connections. Proper grounding when transferring. I've on a couple occasions had to wear a grounding band around here, and that's grounded off to a copper rod in earth. Don't spill any liquid. Keep any source of ignition. We were not allowed to wear belts. We were not allowed to wear walkies. We were not allowed to wear any metal whatsoever when we were handling this stuff. Nothing that could spark. Do not come into contact with super cooled or chilled lines and transfer hoses. Okay, now we're talking about just normal gasoline. Gasoline and how it's rated requires us as an OSHA, we are doing business in the state of California and in the United States. We have to use an NFPA approved metal can. We cannot use plastic. No plastic with gasoline if you're working commercially. We're talking about it's still allowed in certain home situations, but not this. And that's got to be a spring-loaded can. If this sucker does start to burn, it just releases. It just releases like that, and that's going to take and cut off the oxygen supply, put that sucker out. Now they do have a nozzle piece that fits down into this, and so that's got to be the right type. All right, containers must be self-closing. Be aware of static electricity, anything that throws a spark, which is why you take it out of the back of the pickup, you put it on the ground, and you're going to fill it there. It's got to be properly grounded. Should be removed from vehicles during transfer operation, refueling operations. Kerosene is blue, gasoline is red. Flammable liquids got to be stored in approved containers, no more than 60 gallons at one location, and they also have to be marked and identified. Be aware of fire hazard when transferring contents, and always make sure everything's labeled properly. Turn off engines when conducting fuel operations. No smoking, obviously. Never block a nozzle and walk away. Don't top it off. Don't fill containers in the bed of that truck. Dispose of waste fuel properly. That does not mean, wash it down the drain. All right. Kerosene containers should be blue in color. Never allow fuel to go into a storm drain or on the ground. Don't leave the vehicle unattended while fueling, and always wear the proper personal protective equipment. Glasses are good there. Yeah.
Why do they always tell you when you fill up your tank and it goes off, never to give it that extra top it off?
Well, because it expands.
With gas? Like with your car?
Gasoline expands. Once it's in there, it expands. So that thing is set to take it to the maximum safe limit. So you actually have a valve at that point, all right, down below. So if you put more, you're actually putting it above the valve. And now if it expands in that chamber, it can actually vapor. And that vapor is what burns in gasoline. Okay? Personal protective equipment, whatever's necessary, that's what they have to provide. Special gloves, special goggles, special respirators, whatever's required for what you need for that job. And that's it pretty much. Okay, good questions that we've had. Any more of them? Nope. Let's see. The cylinder valves, are they always kept closed? Whenever not in use. Okay. Remember, we never do any work on these things. Return them. Chains or straps. I think we're good. All right. So are you ready? This is a 10-question test. Now, I actually have to warn you on something on this test.